Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is a rare genetic connective tissue disorder that affects approximately 1 in 40,000 people, or 0.0025% of the population. One of those people is me. In my speech, I plan on informing you about what this disorder is, the symptoms, diagnosis, what this person regularly should experience without this disorder, as well as treatment options. So first, let's talk about what it is. So Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is caused by a mutation in the gene that forms collagen. It is very important. Collagen is something that provides support for the body. It basically is like a stabilizer bar that holds everything together. There are a lot of subtypes of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. There's 13 that they know of. The most common type is called hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or HEDS. This one, they haven't actually found a genetic mutation to go along with it yet, but there most likely is one because there have been many cases. The rarest type is periodontal EDS, which causes a loss of all teeth by a very early age. So for the diagnosis, there are a few ways that it can be diagnosed. They start with something called the Bateman criteria, which starts by asking some different questions, such as asking someone if they can bend their thumb to their forearm, if their pinky can go back 90 degrees, they can touch their hands on the bottom of the floor without bending their knees, and a few other things as well. They look at criteria for the different subtypes, and they can do genetic testing, as well as like looking at different physical examinations, like their joints and their skin as well. So there's a lot of different symptoms that go along with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. One of them is with the skin. The skin is a lot more bruisable. So something that shouldn't really cause bruising, like just slightly bumping into something, can cause a big bruise that could stay there for a long time. The skin's a lot more fragile. So if you get cut, it can bleed a lot more, and it can be a lot more deep than it should be. So bleeding can continue for a lot longer, and blood loss can be more of an issue. The skin can be also a lot more velvety feeling and a lot more stretchy, like elastic as well, which is why you probably have heard of the Guinness World Record. His name, they kind of call him the Elastic Man. And a lot of these people have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome as well. Another big thing is joint issues. So the collagen, when it's not formed correctly, it causes looser joint capsules because of hypermobility. Hypermobility means that your joints move in a more range of motion than they should. So that means that there's a lot more instability, which leads to joint dislocations and subluxations, sprains, strains, all of those things, which is something that I deal with on a daily basis. So yeah, they're a lot more injury prone, which often is seen as clumsiness, but there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of effects on bodily systems, such as organs. So there's a lot of like prolapse, it's called, which is a downward displacement of an organ. It's seen on a lot of the pelvic organs, such as the uterus and the bladder, as well as in the heart, such as the mitral and aortic valves. There's also a higher risk of blood vessel ruptures, which is the highest cause of premature death in those with EDS. So it should look like, when a person has non-mutated genes, that they just don't have as high of a risk of dislocations, and they shouldn't have as stretchy of skin. And if they are double jointed, they call it, it shouldn't be that much of an issue. It shouldn't cause pain. But obviously with EDS, there are a lot of things involved that when they put them together, that causes more issues. So treatment options, there's bracing to help affect the joints, so that help add stability. Compression garments as well. There's a lot of medications to help with disorders that go along with it. So POTS, which you guys have probably heard about and we talked about before, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So beta blockers and alpha-adrenergic agonists help with that. So surgery for the disordered joints and specialists to help monitor the issues. So in conclusion, this is a disorder that's not always seen by those around them, which leads to diagnosis, delay, and treatment. So EDS is a rare genetic disorder that affects a person's entire body, wherever connective tissue can be found. So a person needs to be careful with activities they take part in because of their risk of premature death. And this disorder is characterized by easy bruising, hypermobility, joint dislocations, and other certain medical conditions that go along with it. So it is caused by a mutation of collagen, and there's currently no cure, but there are ways for a person to manage this condition. Thank you.